We are very excited today. I'm Michelle, Medicine with the Metals, and I have been very excited to talk with you, Tracy. Moms with on mushrooms, Colorado. I'm a mom. I love Colorado. I love mushrooms. I love what you're doing. Let's start out by letting you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got to this point.
My name is Tracey Tee. I am the founder of Moms on Mushrooms. We are an educational platform and online community that aims to provide a supportive and safe container for mothers to learn about psychedelics, specifically microdosing psilocybin in this season of our organization. We believe that microdosing psilocybin is a beautiful way for moms to create an intentional relationship with a psychedelic so that they can go on to explore the medicine and modalities that are right for them. We are entering into our third year. We launched in March of 2022. I am a mom. I have a kiddo who's 14 and a half, so she's just about to start high school, and I'm here in Colorado.
Okay. All right. I love that. I wish when my children had been younger, I wish I knew then what I know now, especially
Right.
about psilocybin. And, I think it's all about breaking the stigma and the education. It's so important what you're doing, getting that education out there.
Mhm.
Becoming a more authentic, calmer, peaceful within myself mother can only benefit my kids. I've
Yep.
gone to lots of ceremonies. I started with ayahuasca and I'm deep into the medicine space.
Mhm.
And the message that has been given to me, whether it is with medicine ceremony or breath work or meditation, and I was in AA for 20 years, the message has always been the same. And that is when I heal, those around me heal. When I heal, those around me heal. When I heal, my children heal. It's
Yeah.
beautiful what you're doing. How did you get it started? Why did you get it started?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the work you're doing. Yeah, I say the same thing. Happy, healthy moms raise happy, healthy kids. It's actually very
Yep.
simple, but we got to get the moms happy. And I was in the same boat. When my daughter was born, I had no idea that this was something that could help me. I had no idea I had permission to work with psychedelics. I'd never tried psychedelics. I grew up in a very conservative Christian home in the Reagan era. So drugs were not anything that I thought would be in my wheelhouse. And in 2020, like many of us, I lost a business. I'm almost 10-year old, actually live entertainment business. I had a comedy show about parenting that I had co-created, produced, written, and performed with my best friend and business partner. We had traveled around the world. We had a fancy Hollywood agent. We had a book. We'd been
Wha-
on the media. And when the lockdowns happened, we just watched all of that, like, just sift through our fingers like sand. We were
Mm.
days away from signing an off-Broadway contract to bring our show to have permanent residency in New York. And it all just disappeared. And as most entrepreneurs, any entrepreneur listening, your business is your other baby. It sounds crass, but it's very true. And the grief of that loss, especially when it wasn't our fault, was palpable. And I had been on a spiritual journey for quite some time, really from the moment I turned 40. I think this happens with a lot of women. Something happens when you turn 40 and all the big questions just start flowing in. Who am I? What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? Is this the life I want? So I'd really been on that path for many years. And in my research and my explorations, ayahuasca, psilocybin would keep coming up. And I always thought, well, there's no way I can do this. I'm a mom. Like, there's no way I can do this. And when I lost my business and all of a sudden all this space and all of this all these existential questions started happening, it just became abundantly clear that that this is something that maybe I wanted to do. And I also should note that I've had stage 4 endometriosis my entire adult life. I was diagnosed when I was 24 or something after having a horrible surgery and ended up having to have a full hysterectomy at 41 years old, which put me into surgical menopause. And my functional medicine doctor at the time wisely prescribed me Wellbutrin to handle the shift from going, when you get a full hysterectomy with everything removed, I walked in with hormones. I walked out 24 hours later with hot flashes. That's how fast your body reacts. It was instant. There was no ramp up to menopause. It was instant.
Yeah,
And
right,
so,
right, right.
yeah. And so I was really glad that she put me on something to help me weather that storm. But I had never been on any medication like that before, and there was no real exit strategy. And so those questions of like, how long do I take this? What am I like without it? Were very real. And then that summer of 2020, my same best friend and business partner invited me on a camping trip up in Boulder, Colorado with a bunch of other moms. And she said, I want you to come camping with us, and you're going to put your big girl pants on and you're going to take mushrooms. And I was like, okay.
I
And so we
love
had
her.
this, I love her. I mean, she's my soul sister.
Yeah.
And that evening when I was driving up there, I thought, if this is what I think it is, like my life is going to change. Truly had those thoughts. And it was this beautiful night. It was the quintessential first psychedelic experience. Here I am, this mom in her mid 40s on a lake or beach of a lake in Boulder, Colorado. You know, I saw God, I saw a grid over the earth, I understood the fourth dimension, I saw every symbol that had ever been written and understood the connection of all of it. I mean, profoundly life-changing. And then just really fun. Like we went to bed that night, just our mouths hurt from smiling and just being so grateful. And after that, I was hooked. And so I started to look into microdosing for my Wellbutrin. And also I was just so curious. Took a course with Casey Garrett, and then the minute I started microdosing, I just felt like my life just went like this. It just, all the dots started to connect, and I just felt like all the things I had been searching for in my spiritual journey, all the questions that weren't quite getting answered, all the change I wasn't quite getting to, the doors just opened. And then a year later, almost to the day, where I was like hard on microdosing. I microdosed 5 days on, 2 days off for 9 months straight. No one told me to take a break. I never knew that. And then almost a year later, my family was driving up in the mountains outside Aspen at 11 in the morning on a Monday, and we got hit by a drunk driver. And my daughter and my niece were in the car, and we got hit at 70 miles an hour, plowed through a guardrail, flew 30 feet in the air, and landed in a ditch in the mountains, and had to like battle our way out of a destroyed car. And it was terrible. And we were miraculously okay. It was trauma. But here's the thing. As I began to heal it back at home with just bruises all over my body, I felt the emotions come up and leave at the same time. And I knew it was because of the medicine. It's like, I mean, when you have to pull your kids out of a car that's burning with glass everywhere, like that is not the day any mother wants to have ever. And I could recognize how horrible it was, but it wasn't sticking. And I knew it was medicine. And that was the moment where I was like, this is an actual miracle, because I could have easily gone down into the darkest depths. And I just
sure, and held on to that story for, the story we tell ourselves forever, and the victimization and all the things that go with
the anger of this man who tried to kill my family and like all of it. And it just didn't stick. I mean, not to say that I, don't have a few issues driving in the mountains around South Park, but like, but it just was, I could tell. And that was like the biggest confirmation. And I also just felt like all my chakras blow open when that happened, which is common when people have traumatic events. But I was able to connect it in a way that I don't think I could have. And in that time, we were very injured, and my daughter, the light was starting to go out of her eyes more and more. She was only 9, and I was desperate to find a therapist for her. And good luck back then, like trying to get anybody to call you back or get kids into anything. And we were seeing an OT for our injuries, and out of desperation, I was like, hey, I have called everywhere. Evie needs to see someone. Her parents can't explain this, what happened to her. Like, we need help. Do you know anyone? And he said, well, I know this woman. She's like a shaman. She's like this amazing grandmother. She does see kids. She's really hard to get a hold of. I was like, give me all her information. I'm calling her. And I stalked her for like a month and finally got in. And one session, no medicine, of course, with my daughter. And she was like, got it, get it. I'm good. I'm cleared. And then I got in to see her and we talked about the car accident for about 20 minutes. And then it was straight to medicine. Turns out she'd been practicing underground for 40 years. She was trained by Stan
Mm.
Groff and is just this wise woman. 2 months after that, I was on the ground for my first guided medicine journey that changed everything. I saw my dharma, I saw my purpose. And 2 months later after that, Mom was born. I was sitting one day in meditation and M.O.M, Moms on Mushrooms, just sort of downloaded into my head. And I sat up and I was like, well, that's genius. And I have no desire to do anything like that. Like, who am I? But it just came to be and here we are. So that's my story.
You just give me chills all over my whole body. I mean, that's literally how Mama Dose came. It's just, not, I mean, not literally the car accident, but that just it come. It's incredible. And so your crew, right? The folks that you normally hang out with, your kids' friends, the teachers, did they think this was crazy at first?
Well, I didn't talk about it very much.
Hmm.
And I was surprised. It was like, for me in my circle, it was two reactions. It was either extreme judgment and like a hell no. And I lost a lot of close family members and friends. Or it was like, tell me more. I love
Hmm.
this for you. And there was no transition whatsoever. And I would say that was 95% of the reaction. So I was really lucky. I mean, unlucky and lucky, but I find that most people, especially mothers, because of the way where we're at right now as a society, when I kind of came out of the psychedelic closet and announced to people that I had been microdosing and that this was just this profound thing, really, I got flooded with, oh my gosh, tell me more. I've tried everything. Nothing's working. I'm miserable. My husband's miserable. Tell me what you got. And that was really so. And it continues to really be like that. More people are just curious, but terrified, but not really judgmental, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Terrified because of, the generation we grew up in with
Mhm.
this is your brain on drugs, you're going to jump
Yeah.
out a window,
Yep.
all,
Yep.
all the things that go with it. It's the
Mhm.
education and the information that is the absolute most important part of the mission that we're on and that you are clearly on as well. It's
Mhm.
information, education, and integration of the
Yeah.
medicines. Because why do the medicines? That's the easy part. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
It's
It
integrating
really
into
is.
your life so that you're changing your life.
Yeah.
So how did you begin to grow? How did you grow? Because now I mean, I see you on TV. So how did you grow?
Well, I think that to ask our little children of light, because I don't really have a lot to do with it. When I
Yep, yep, yeah.
it's a great lesson in learning to say yes to something that you're called to do. And I fought it. I mean, I remember many days in prayer, like on the floor crying, like, no, thank you. No, I don't want to do it. But when I said yes, everything just kind of blew up. And I took it slow. I had a course that I kind of just downloaded as people do, and reached out to a group of those same women who were very, very interested and just open and wanted to try. And we spent 3 months together and I sort of stumbled through. And this was after, about a year of study. Uh,
Right.
and then at the end of the course, I was crying, they were crying. And I remember saying, like, I'm just going to miss you guys so much. And thank you so much for doing this with me and taking a chance. And they all looked back and they were all over the country. So we were on Zoom and they just said, well, we're not going anywhere. What else do you have? And that was sort of the first confirmation. And then I was like, well, I guess I should kind of start a business. Like maybe I'll get an Instagram page. And
Community.
then my same best friend, she, when we lost our business, took Zoloft and, grateful for it, but also like, I need to get off this. I don't even feel my feelings anymore. And so she took my course, weaned herself off Zoloft, and was at the end of the course, as a life partner does, she was like, this is amazing. You need a community. We need to get moms need this. This was great. You got to do this. So we built a community on Circle and like the week that we were supposed to go live, Colorado Public Radio called and did an interview. It's seen my Instagram account. 3 weeks after that, that same interview went live on NPR twice, national, like on All Things Considered. And then we were off to the races, and everything else has just sort of flowed in. And I think our culture is just mesmerized by the idea that mothers would microdose. I think there's so much misinformation. So the idea that a mom is taking a psychedelic, the instant knee jerk is like, you're high, you're a terrible mother, you're a drug addict. And when they see that you're not, they're just like, what? And so I think the media, it's a good story. And our country just doesn't understand the idea of having happy moms, of what it means to be a happy, empowered mom. We're not there yet. And so I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to talk about it, to anyone who will listen.
Yeah. So now is this what you do full time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just keep building your, tell me what you do. What does your day look like? Do you travel around talking, giving talks?
Not as much as we do things online. Kind of a hybrid of teaching. We have a beautiful community of about 4,000 moms. We have a paid membership that's private. It's kind of like Facebook for Moms on Shrooms, where people can just talk and gather and connect locally. We have cohort courses and classes. We have self-paced classes. And I think one of my roles is just to talk and kind of spread the word and have conversations. So my day is half advocacy, half writing, and then half just being an entrepreneur of what is essentially a tech company. So it's a lot of moving parts. It's a big business. There's a lot of things to tend to. And in this changing climate of just even getting misinformation out there, algorithms changing and emails not getting delivered and getting deplatformed, and, Stripe canceled me because I'm like, every day I'm just like, what do we got
right now?
Yeah. You are. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've never in my life, I tell people that I have never worked so hard at anything in my life. And, all we are trying to do is empower people and help them to understand and source medicine. And what I do is, to me, those are the drugs. This is medicine. Those are the drugs. This is medicine. These are supplements. We don't have any problem walking into Whole Foods and taking, say, sunflower. You take too much of that, you're going to be too high, right? So we're trying to educate people that this is not about, you're taking this drug every day and walking around and seeing unicorns. That's not what this is about.
Well, you can walk into Whole Foods and buy 12 bottles of wine.
Exactly.
I mean, and nobody asks you anything about that. You can get bananas and oranges and a case of wine, and nobody cares about that. It's crazy.
It's very, very crazy. And just to be up against the fight against, the man on a daily basis. Okay, so you started out and you started getting a couple other moms involved. And then I imagine those moms told those moms, told those moms, and it's been by word of mouth.
Yeah, really, mostly word of mouth for sure. Again, I think a lot of, I think it's when you're in this space, you think everyone knows about everything and gets it. And then I forget that actually 99% of the planet has no idea about psychedelics, has no concept. And 99.9% of mothers is just not even in their purview. And then I'm in Colorado on top of it. So I just assume, because we just talk about drugs all the time in Colorado, that everyone knows, but they don't. So yeah, we're really just word of mouth right now because, can't really advertise, even though we are only an educational platform. And the world is still trying to warm up to this idea of actual healing. And it's going to take some time, I think.
It is definitely going to take time. I think that, the baton was dropped and then it has been picked back up, and there is definitely a psychedelic renaissance coming out. And I think that the more people like Aaron Rodgers and people that people look up to, people feel validated, right? At that point. Or the other way they do it is if, like by your friend watching you, well, wait a minute, I see a
Yeah.
difference here. I want to see what that's about. That's what brought me to the medicine for sure.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I think I agree. I don't have any chips on my shoulder with celebrities or um, you know, speaking out about it. I think it's great. I think we need to take what we can get. But I also do worry that in our culture of more is more and magic pill, that when we sort of make it a trend, um, people expect that you're going to microdose and 3 days later, you're going to lose 30 pounds, fix your marriage, write the book, get the job, promotion. And then there's
Sure.
a big disappointment when it takes time and co-creation. And I'm really seeing now, having been in this space for so many years, that I would really love to see women kind of take the center stage and approach this renaissance from the female gaze, from the sacred female gaze, so that we take our time and we don't rush into commodifying this or making it more of a game or a biohack, that we keep it really sacred, and that we take our time to unlearn what medicine means, so that this can stick around. I think
Okay.
everyone understands that a lot of mistakes were made in the 60s. I don't think dropping acid from a plane over a crowd of people was a great idea for any kind
Mm.
of movement. And so we need to remember that and then take a different approach. And so I see mothers at the forefront of this, because this is generational healing. And if we raise our children around, with a different understanding and respect for psychedelics, then everything changes. So
Everything
that's my
changes.
hope. Everything.
Well, coming from somebody who had, I had drank ayahuasca before I had taken mushrooms in high school and college, but, never ceremonially. And then, of course, I got sober and I was sober for 20 years. And so there was no way I was going to put a psychedelic in my body.
Hmm.
No mind altering substances, right? Which is another really big
Hmm.
stigma that I've been trying
Yep.
to break for a number of years.
Yep. It's
We
a
could
big
talk
one.
about that one too, but I think that it's just when came out of that ayahuasca experience, it was, oh, this is definitely not what I thought it was. And other people need to understand this process, because it's not what you think. It's not what you think. It's not the
It's not.
experience that you thinks it is.
Mm, it's not at all. And it doesn't have the effects that you think, because we
You're
frame
right.
it all within the framework of alcohol and like opioids.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
that's
Right.
what
Right.
we look at it through that lens. And so we just assume that you're going to come out addicted or destroyed, that you're just, it's like, and it's, I always laugh when people kind of like roll their eyes at me and they're just like, oh, you're just high. You're just, you're teaching your kid to take drugs. You're checking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, you couldn't be further from the truth.
And how many
Microdosing
bottles
is
of
so
pills do you
hard.
have in your cabinet right now?
Right. And again, like how many bottles of, no judgment, I actually still drink, but like how many bottles of wine did you buy with your cereal today? You know? And and they're just, when you start to work with psychedelics intentionally, you're just so far from checked out. It's laughable, because you're so present. That's the point. And we don't
It's a
know
complete
we don't
act.
know even how to have that conversation, because we don't know what that feels like. We're not a culture that that prioritizes presence. We prioritize the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, or fix it,
Absolutely.
you know um slap a band-aid over it, metaphorically speaking, in a million different ways. And we're so
Right?
resistant to being uncomfortable that you can't conceive of the idea of going to an ayahuasca ceremony and puking and pooping and crying and wailing and coming out better on the other side, because we just don't allow ourselves to do that.
That's right. I mean, we don't like to be uncomfortable.
No.
I'm going to do everything I can to
Mm.
not be comfortable, to be comfortable, to be not uncomfortable.
Everything.
Being
Everything.
uncomfortable is okay.
It is
Or
okay, but not for women. And we also don't like to witness uncomfortable women, I'm coming to understand. We don't like to see women who are sad or angry or even just in pure ecstasy. It's very confronting. And
mm,
so it's much easier to give a woman Zoloft and a bottle of Chardonnay and pat her on the head and say, we know it's hard being a mom. You can go off in your corner and have your moment. That's easy and rewarded. And, Christ, we used to chloroform women in childbirth, so we didn't hear them scream. I mean, you think of the motivation for that is pretty intense. And so
Mhm.
to have a medicine come online that's like, actually, no, you're going to stop the pills, you're going to stop the booze, you're going to find yourself, you're going to feel your feelings, you're going to be
Or you're going to
uncomfortable,
connect.
you're to connect. Yeah.
I call psilocybin the great connector. I love all the psychedelics, and there is reason and purpose behind all of them, but they're all beautiful and they're different reasons. I call psilocybin the connector, the great connector, actually, because it really, it connects you to self, your authentic self, right? It connects you to all beings around you, and it connects you to Mother Earth, and it connects you to Source, whatever that is for you. To me, Source is everything. So, but whatever Source is to you, it connects you to that, and it connects in a way that I I I don't I don't know if there's another way to see that connection. I don't know.
No, and the amazing thing about it is it does what it is, right? It connects you in the way the mycelium connects to everything. So it is micro and macro, and it really walks the walk. It's like, I do this and we're going to do this, we're going to help you do this. And you're right, it connects you to everything. And once you feel that connection, you can't really disconnect from it, right? Like, you may walk away, but when you have that understanding, it's really hard to forget, and everything changes.
Everything changes.
Yeah.
We do consultations, we do free consultations to, give people the chance, and if they need to talk further, we do that as well. But we'll give a free 15-minute consultation just to go over the basics. And, we always say to everybody, I mean, this is something that you have to get a chance, and it's not a overnight.
No.
It's not going to fix everything. I'll have people call me and say, it's been a week, I don't feel anything.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
All the
it's
time.
taken you 48 years to get to this point, right? It's going to take a while for it to get out. We're not talking about regular medicine here where you take it the same time every day. There's intention, there's different things that go around it. I also have found that the majority of folks who microdose with Mama Dose, um, always eventually want to macrodose. Even if
Yeah.
they've never done it before, they always come back to me at some point and say, I'm ready. And I'll tell them in that first call, the mushrooms call you. Obviously, they've already called you because we are on a phone call, but they'll
Right.
call you deeper, and you're going to want to go deeper. You're going to want to go deeper. No, 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 no. This is enough
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think, like, my mentors sort of disagree with me. I think a lot of the old ways are macrodose first and then microdose is a supportive practice. I just don't think, I think it can be really destabilizing for a lot of people because we don't understand it. We don't have any context. We don't understand ceremony. And so microdosing is so beautiful. But again, once you feel that connection and you feel that change and you let the fear die away, you actually have context and understanding of the medicine, then all of a sudden a big dose doesn't feel like a big deal at all. It feels necessary and you're excited about it. And that's what I love about microdosing, because then you can actually have a really great first experience rather than in what we're seeing in a lot of times. And I'm not saying it's for everyone, but a lot of times people dive into a large dose experience head first, and they only want love and light, and they have like a list of things that they want to achieve in their afternoon or their night, and then their things don't go that way because the medicine gives you what you need, and they're disappointed, and then they don't know what to do with that disappointment. They think they failed. And that's where, like you said earlier, integration is so important in education. And again, we don't, even though the wellness industry is so big, and even though we talk about all these modalities and stuff, we really don't pay a lot of attention to what we put in our bodies. And what I found is that people enter microdosing thinking it's just another supplement that you take in the morning. And I don't really think the medicine, it's never going to work if you just throw it down and go on with your day. There's a big element of co-creation that is expected from the medicine. And you've got to learn that.
100%. It is not about just popping a pill on my way out to work in the morning. It
No.
won't work.
No.
Nope. Won't work. It won't work.
No.
Medicine
And if
doesn't
you
work
just
like
take
that.
no, it doesn't. And if you just take a little bit of time, like you don't need a 3 hour, you know, drums and yoga nidra and all the things. I mean,
Right.
do it if you've got it.
Right.
But even if you just take a moment to look at it and just say a prayer of gratitude, like
Mhm.
it just needs attention. And you may think it's working, but when you really drop in with it and create a practice, that's like so many miraculous things can happen. It's crazy. But you got to do the work.
You gotta do the work, and what happens with psychedelics that I tell people is that, it's not like your life changes, it's your perception changes, and when that perception
Yeah.
changes, anything is possible. Everything is possible. And all of those things that we've been holding on to and holding on to, we're able to look at them in a different way and let them go. And I am a
Mhm.
firm believer that, once you heal those wounds at a cellular level, they're healed. They're gone. They're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
gone. We don't have to
They
hold
are.
on to them.
It's crazy. And your body or your brain is like, no, I want to hold on to it. So there may be some like residual
Whoa.
memory, like it's like muscle memory, but it doesn't stick. Yeah, you're right. It's actually gone.
The
And
story is different. It's no longer a story. It's just a part of your life. It's the story and the victimization around it. And even if it's something that happened to you,
Mhm,
you can still become victimization around it. So
mhm.
psychedelics and, psilocybin in particular, I mean, that's definitely my medicine too, is it just does just incredible things. And this is what I tell people about with the who want to start slow. And I agree with you versus your teachers. My husband totally does too. He always tells everybody, do a big dose first. But some people are scared to do that and they don't want to do that. And
Yeah.
my fear is if they do that and they're alone, then it's going to terrify them and they're never going to want to do psilocybin again. And then we're
No.
defeating the whole purpose.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
you do what feels comfortable, but it's okay to start slow and less is more, less is more, less is more. And you will get to that point. You find a sweet spot. Not everybody's the same. Maybe for you, 4 days on, 3 days off works. Maybe for you, 5 days on, 2 days off works. 6 days on, 1 day off works. It really becomes intuitive.
It does. And really that is such the I don't know why I'm harping on this call, but like that really is the female way, the feminine way of working with this medicine. I believe it. I mean, we actually make people mad because we won't share a protocol. Because I know that if you just listen to yourself, you will know what to do. And more than anything, I'm like, I don't care. Microdose every day, honestly, when you're starting, the medicine will tell
I
you.
say the same thing.
But what you need to know is your why. You need to know why you're taking it in the first place. Every single time you take it, you need to know why. And understanding that actually, it takes a long time to even get to that place to be really conscious and present to your why. And then you have to be prepared to co-create. You have to be prepared to meet it halfway. It's never going to do all the work for you. It's not an Advil. It's not passive. You have to show up, you know?
My husband has this meme on his page, and it's this guy, and he's poking this little mushroom, and he says he's poking it, going, "Well, I don't feel anything yet. Like, no, you're not doing anything for me." People don't understand. It's
Yes.
the answers are already inside of you.
Yeah.
These medicines just are showing you that. They're not doing the work for you.
Mm-mm.
You're doing the work. They're just showing you. They're lighting up what needs to be done. That's the way I look at it. It just kind of lights it up.
Yeah, but you also need to know how to do the work, right? Like you need
Yes.
to again, we don't have structures in place for you to really understand what the work means, and then the work even just that's been, turned into a meme itself. And so so much of what we do is like just it just instantly gets wrapped up in dogma. And the truth like you said, like it's all inside you, but you need to have you there is merit in learning tools and finding modalities that work for you. And then it's necessary, it's absolutely imperative that you apply those consciously day in, day out, and you understand that healing is not someone fixing you. Healing is not laying back, going to sleep and waking up and it's over. Healing is actually a long journey of putting tools in your tool belt and your medicine bag. I mean, the wisdom traditions know this way better than we hopefully will learn it. You just keep putting tools in your tool bag, and then that it's there. You carry it with you always, and then you reach in and you get the ones out that you need at the time that you need them. But can't add tools to your tool bag if you don't know how to use the tools, so it's
Right.
chicken and egg.
Right. You have to be able to put tools in them for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to find
Yeah.
the tools to put in your toolbox. We sit down here in Costa Rica. This is why we live here now. The Shinanawa tribe from Brazil, they come up and they share their beautiful ayahuasca up here. And so 6% of all of our platforms goes to support that tribe. And we've come to sit with them so many times in Costa Rica that now we live here. They are in Brazil, but they come up here. But we that is exactly what they teach me in every single ceremony, whatever medicine it is. And it doesn't have to be a psychedelic medicine. This is what people don't understand. Medicine is life. Medicine is music. Medicine is love. Medicine is grief. Medicine is eating. Medicine is life. And if we treat it all sacredly, things will change.
Yeah. And what I say to that, because I totally agree, is the sort of fun side of that is understanding that if medicine is life, then life is magic and medicine is magic. And when you allow yourself to look at life, the phrase, it's happening for me, not to me. It's happening
Amen.
for me. And you start to learn that even if I have to be hit by a drunk driver and have the darkest moment of my life happen, to instantly say, what are the lessons here? Then everything becomes magical. It doesn't mean I don't cry. It doesn't mean I don't have dark days, but everything becomes magic. And when everything becomes magic, life gets real fun. Like it gets really fun because we're living in Eden and we're living in this magical place. So why not embrace it and then just be open to the lessons? Like that's the point, and
the whole point.
even that just to get there takes a long time because we're not allowed to think of this life as magic.
Well, plus we live in the age of Amazon where we just expect something I call and it's here,
Yeah.
and it's just not the way that it works. It's
No.
healing is, I say this all the time. I'm 53. I lied. I just turned 54 last month. I'm 54. Oh my God. Isn't that funny? I'm 54. And it took a long time. I started with ayahuasca 7 years ago, but and I still consider myself an infant in
Totally.
all of this.
Oh yeah.
Especially when I sit with the tribes and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely an infant. But
Yeah.
you just keep going. And the thing to remember is that we are human beings having a spiritual experience. So I'm still going to have those human days. I mean, just a couple months ago, I picked up a pumpkin and threw it at my husband's head. Okay. So like we're still human, right? And that's what we're all here to do, though, is to break the stigma. And that's why I appreciate what you do so much, because it's exactly why Mark and I started. We started the plant medicine path first, and then Mama Dose and our church, and now the podcast, because we want to get it out there in every way possible. Plus we like to sustain medicine, but we don't hide. We do not hide. We are not afraid. We are here on a mission. I knew that mission was given. You can see who's on the mission, and we're just we won't stop, and you won't either.
No. I mean, no, I won't. Like, I'm not really afraid either. I'm frustrated, but I think, and then the more you learn, the more I study, and every day is study, right? The more frustrated I am that how dumb it is that this is like a Schedule 1, that it's so stigmatized. It's like, it's so dumb. And I'm an Aries, right? So I can get real mad real fast. And I'm just like, we have so many things on the market available to everyone that are infinitely worse, especially than psilocybin,
It's terrible.
It's just like, it's terrible. And we're
going through it.
Yeah.
It won't. And I tell people all the time, you have no idea how hard we work to get you medicine. It is
Yeah.
so difficult. Every day is a battle, right? And we
Yeah.
have our education side as well. We are definitely all about the education, but everyone knows Mom and Dose sources medicine. We have a
Yeah.
farm, we source it. We source functionals where we talk to people about the functionals. They're just as important. We had a podcast yesterday. We're really pushing mama's functionals. We're just trying to educate and really
Mhm.
educate people. And that's what I love that you're doing. And you are forming community. And
Yeah.
that is what is the most needed,
It is. I
especially
mean,
around women. And then one more thing, and
yeah.
I'm going to shut up so you can talk. But you keep
No.
talking about like this woman thing. This is the time of the female energetic energy. We
Yeah.
are rising up, and it is happening. And I had ceremony a couple weeks ago up in Amaloka, and it was like, I mean, it's very clear. That's why you're feeling that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very clear. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to like, I'm like, God, I was just in ceremony, I think a couple weeks ago too, and I was just like, come on to my guides. I'm like, we got that, like, we got that lesson. Can we just like jump to the next thing? Cause like, let's go. But yeah, no, and and now, so I'm hopeful, and I'm hopeful that, female women leaders will rise up in a meaningful way and that people will listen. I'm really feeling like if we don't bring our elders into this moment, we're going to screw it all up again. And I think women are more apt to do that because, and this is why I think mothers and mushrooms are so important, because we just come to this medicine from a different lens. Because again, when a mom starts to heal herself, she's doing it for two people. Whether you're living with your child or even speaking to your child, like when you heal yourself, you're healing your family, and you're also healing your child. And so you come to everything with like a deeper understanding of the consequences of that healing, good and bad. And well, there's not really bad consequences of healing, but you know what I'm saying? If it
Do.
and so I think there's an instant reverence that's attached that other you know subsets of our culture just don't inherently have. And then we need community so bad as mothers. Every mother knows that it takes a village, and we've made that phrase pithy and overused it, but we don't apply it in a meaningful way.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've never actually learned that lesson, but we know it in our hearts. So and this medicine especially, one of the first messages I got was just like, it has to be done in community because it is a web. It is connected to everything. It doesn't want to be taken in a vacuum. So you add communal medicine with women and mothers who need community, who need help, who need to be taught how to raise children, who need advice and mentorship. It just all fits together. And I think that's the nucleus that I want to see kind of emerge in these next years. That's what's going to keep this medicine around, and I think keep it from getting ruined. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of people talk about that, and I just don't worry about it. I just don't think psilocybin's going to let itself be ruined. It's just not that way. It's too
It's
powerful.
not. The medicine is smarter than we are, and I know
Way
that you have to
smarter.
get going here, but it's that community, and it's also collaboration. People who are we need to do this together.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I'm doing the same, and I see it. I see that world so clearly, and I want that for everyone. And I want it most of all for our children. And
Me-
I think our children see that world real clear, and they need to be kept safe, and they need to be supported so that they can save us. Because
I have grown children, so it's different,
yeah.
but I have sat in medicine with all of my children
Oh, I love that.
and their father, who we are divorced. We have all
Mm.
sat in medicine together. Well, Tracy, thank you so much. Before we go, let us know, where can we find you?
Yep. Momsonmushrooms.com. That's the easiest way. Or Instagram, Moms on Mushrooms Official. But yeah, we've got lots of offerings. We really try to meet moms where they're at. So whether you just need some bite-sized information to just understand the basics. We've got really great, just self-paced and instant download type things. We've got beautiful cohort courses. We've got beautiful wing women to support you. We always are open to taking a phone call and having a consultation. And then we have our private community that you're welcome to join. It's $2 a month, really just to keep out the trolls. And we're just here. We're just here to help moms. So if you're just circling the pond and curious, or even if you've got a deep psychedelic practice and you're just looking for like-minded mothers, all are welcome. And that's where you can find us.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing. It is so needed. I appreciate it. And I look forward to the day we meet. I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes, absolutely. Take
Thank
care.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.